This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. Hello, today I am doing the interior of the farmhouse build that I started last week where I showed the exterior of it. And so as a quick reminder, or if you haven't seen that video, this is a limited pack build. It uses just the base game. It uses cats and dogs, outdoor retreat, laundry day, and the basement treasures kit because I wanted to do one expansion pack, one game pack, one stuff pack, and one kit. And I don't normally do my builds in two parts where one is the interior and one is the outside of the build. I did a long time ago when I was first starting this channel because it was like easier for me to take on while I was kind of learning how to do everything. But it was actually really nice for me the past couple of weeks to just have two shorter videos to do. Definitely felt like a lot less overwhelming when I'm kind of trying to get back into a schedule for myself that works. And I'm not building as often as I usually would because it used to be very easy for me to get a build done every single week, but lately, that's just not been the case. I've just been a little bit more tired, and I've also been playing some other games outside of The Sims. And so I might continue to split up my builds into two parts, at least for a little while, until I maybe am building a bit more and I can actually handle making a 40-minute video a week. But it was very nice to have just like a 15-minute video last week, and then this one I think is around 20 minutes because the interior did take me a lot longer than the outside of this build did. But you can see that I have the floor plan all set up now. I wanted to make sure that I could fit multiple kids bedrooms in here, so this is a 3-bedroom home, and I think it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. I went with a lighter color palette for the interior of this one. I used all light wooden floors, and I believe that these are just base game floors. I know that cats and dogs came with some, but I just really love this specific wooden floor, and so I always tend to use that in my builds. And I used mostly base game doors and archways, but I did go for this cats and dogs one that is for medium wall heights because this is like the bottom level of this is a medium wall height because I wanted to fit in the laundry day windows that are in the greenhouse section, and I was able to use some of the medium cats and dogs stuff. So I was like, okay, perfect. Let's not forget that this is medium wall height and I can actually look to see what other archways I could use. So anywhere that I could fit more than a single tile archway in, I did the medium wall height for that. And then the upstairs is the smaller wall height, or I guess just the standard one that I usually use for my builds. And I think I mentioned last week that when I picked Basement Treasures as the kit that I was going to be using for this, I had a plan of making a basement and I completely forgot about that. But looking back now, I don't really know where I would have fit in stairs to create a basement. It would have really just changed the entire floor plan, I think. And with it just not having a basement, not having another set of stairs, I was able to make most of the rooms very spacious. I think that the dining room is the most cramped space, but if it's 4 chairs, fine. You could always, add in some extra chairs if you want to. I don't think it would cause any routing issues. I mean, it might, who knows? But I didn't see any issues with having the 4 chairs there, and when I was making this, I was like, "Okay, so if, a couple lives here, that would be 2 people, and then if there's, 2 kids, that would be 4 people." So, I really only need a dining room big enough for, 4 chairs, and yeah, I don't remember if I put the basement treasures old like chairs. I don't know which item it is, but it's one of my favorite items where it's like a stack of chairs. And I'm thinking that I might have put that in the closet. You could pretend oh yeah, you could pull out chairs if you have a party or something, but then it's been a while, so I don't actually know if that is what I put in the closet or not. I'll comment on that later if it is different or not. I don't really remember But for the packs that I picked for this, I really do love all of the interior items, and that's kind of why I chose those ones. And then the exterior ones are kind of what I don't normally ever use from those packs. So I thought it would be interesting to do this for my pack limited stuff because I was like, okay, I know I'm comfortable with all the interior items. This will be nice. And I just did a base game only build, and so I was like, okay, it'll be really good too to have some variety of items because right now I'm feeling mostly inspired just to do pack limited builds. And that's how I'm getting myself to build again. And then I did the base game one. But if I do too many base game ones, I'm going to get bored of it. And so I feel like 4 packs is a really good like number, and it has quite a bit of items without feeling like I'm limiting myself way too much. And I do have a plan for my next build. I was feeling inspired by the announcement of the like Sims 4 Royalty and Legacy, I think it's called. And so I want to do a pack limited medieval type build. I haven't picked out any packs for it yet, and I don't know if I'm going to do the same thing where I do like one of each pack type or not. I feel like that's kind of fun for me. It gives me like a little bit of a challenge. So I might do like one of each sorts of packs, but I need to find some like actual inspiration on Pinterest or something for that. So I haven't really built a medieval style build in a very long time, but that used to be one of my favorite things to build. And so I would like to be able to revisit that and do it more pack limited, which I don't think I've done before in that style. Just talking about it makes me excited to do it. So it depending on when I finish this like video and have it scheduled for upload, I might start that build today, or at least I would like to. But for this build, I really just talked over me, I think, putting in the wallpaper and some rugs and stuff, which to me isn't really super interesting. I don't have a lot to comment about it. I could tell you what the rooms are going to be. So the room with the large brown rug is going to be the living room. You could see that I'm setting up the dining room. I would think I put in some items just so that I would remember, because I wasn't going to finish this all in one sitting like I used to be able to do. But you can see the kitchen there. The room in the back, right, is a study, and the room to the left is a greenhouse that I put plants in. And that's pretty much, yeah, that's every room downstairs. You can see the bathroom. There is a tiny space that I use just for a closet, and I really like the hallway of this one. I didn't want it to be all just straight down and like a single tile. So it like kind of veers off just a little bit. And that pretty much just let me have a more open foyer area. So it's a bit wider at the front, which I really like because it allowed me to be able to place some furniture over there. And at some point in the video, I accidentally just have a bookcase with move objects on in the middle of the stairs blocking the study doorway. And I don't know, like, I don't know why I didn't notice that. I don't know why I thought, oh yeah, that's probably just in a hallway. It's not in the stairs. Because then I was playtesting a little bit and I had her go to the fireplace so I could have the chimney smoke in like my intro video for the outside part that I did, and the sim couldn't walk through, and I was like, well, what's in the way? Like, what is making my build not functional? And then I like look over and I see a staircase literally inside the stairs and blocking the entire doorway. I was like, that's weird. How did that get there? Maybe I just did that. No, because when I was editing it, then I had noticed that the entire time I was editing the video, and it was there for a while too. So I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I just really loved that bookcase that I didn't think anything of it, because I was really trying to have that fit somewhere else. But I know I have it somewhere in the build, and I was trying to combine the bookcase with a desk. So I probably went to go delete it and sell it, but I misclicked and then it just ended up in the hallway. But now I'm doing the living room, and I'm actually going to be focusing on it now. I think I do most of the living room here. And I really love the furniture that comes in Cats and Dogs. Like this little console table that is right below the TV is one of my favorite pieces. And I think the basement treasure stuff looks really nice with it, especially like the two couches. So I have like one of sort of like a grandma couch, which I really love from Cats and Dogs, and it is in a green swatch. And I originally had two of the Cats and Dogs couches, but I decided to swap one of them out for the Basement Treasures couch, which is one of my favorite couches in the game too. And both of the packs look really nice together, even over here. I love the way the Basement Treasures bookcase looks with the Cats and Dogs furniture. And like then the base game stuff also works really nicely with it. But adding in the Basement Treasures, I really feel like it makes it feel a little bit more realistic because the furniture is a little bit more like worn down and a little bit broken. And so it looks like they've had it for a while and kind of like moving it around room to room, which is something that I really love for my builds. And that was the main reason why I picked Basement Treasures because I felt like it would add some character to the inside of the build. And then I was really happy that it has some of the wall distressing that I was able to add on the outside of the build just to make it look a bit more weathered. And I add a bunch of like wall marks and I guess like molds on the walls. I think that's probably the name of it in the swatch. It was a solid pack choice. It went well with everything. But I did mention in last video that outdoor retreat, I really didn't use as much as I thought that I was going to. So I feel like I probably would have been better off with Parenthood for it because that was going to be my other choice. I would have probably been able to add like a little bit more family clutter in. Okay, and so this was the closet I was talking about. I don't add in those chairs that I was talking about earlier, but that could have been a cute touch where it was like, oh yeah, there's the four chairs. So if you want another chair, you go to the closet right near the dining room, pull out one of the chairs. I decided to go for one of these sorts of like dolly carts. Yeah, that is what it's called. I don't know why I was like gaslighting myself to be like, is that what the actual name for it? I couldn't remember what it was. But then I added some other basement treasures clutter into the closet, like an old box and an old phone. I used some cats and dogs art in the dining room because I just didn't want to use a bunch of base game stuff after I had just like done a base game build. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna use some from the pack that I picked out for this. And the cats and dog stuff is pretty cute. I don't really use it in a lot of builds just because it is so like sea themed. But I think for this one, it was like fine. And I really only put it in the dining room and now this is the study. I love these curtains. These are one of my favorite curtains in the game. It is like this one and the other cats and dog curtains. And then my other favorite is from the Cozy Bistro kit, but these ones are the ones that you'll see in pretty much all of my builds. I love like most of the swatches in it, unless it's like a color that I don't like, but I really like a good variety of the swatches of these curtains. And that's what I was thinking of too when I was picking out packs. I was like, wow, yeah, Cats and Dogs has amazing curtains. It has amazing rugs. And I know that I love the couches and a lot of the furniture that comes in. And I love the chairs too. I use one of the chairs over there. Okay, I use two of them. These are another common pick for me is these cats and dogs chairs with the cute throw blanket over the top of it. I do notice one outdoor retreat item, which is the lamp that I put on the desk in here. I also use the outdoor retreat chess table that is outside in sort of the doorway area. I'm sure that there's other little pieces here and there. I used some of the columns outside from outdoor retreat and upstairs. I know that I used the dresser. I went back in and I put sort of like a couple of outdoor retreat shelves around too because I was like, I love this pack, but I just didn't grab anything from it. And I didn't really need to grab anything from it because I loved everything else already. So, like, grabbing those items was mostly me just trying to use the pack because Cats and Dogs has so much stuff that I love to use. And I really didn't have a need for like another game pack, which is why Parenthood probably would have been maybe a better choice, and that would have just been just for some extra family clutter here and there. Like, I could have used that, like, dish drying rack or maybe, like, the bread box. I'm sure that there's, like oh, yeah, all the, like, school projects and stuff is in the debug section in that pack. So, you know what? I feel like that one probably would have helped to create a bit more character for the build instead of outdoor retreat, which was really just, like, some items that weren't really necessary at this point. I think part of my thought process for outdoor retreat was to make it feel a little bit more rustic. And I didn't really actually go fully towards that sort of theme for this. So that's like it kind of just got phased out a little bit throughout. And I was going to try and use that like cats and dogs pile of books as a coffee table, but for some reason it felt like too much going on, so I moved it over and I grabbed, like, a very small base game side table that I use as a round coffee table when the space is too small to actually have one of the actual coffee tables. Because there's either the long ones or there are, like, the huge round ones, and we don't really have much that's just, like, a tiny little coffee table in the center, but I'm glad that we have that one at least. And I put some pet stuff in because I was like, well, cats and dogs is one of the packs I'm using. So let me do that. And then I didn't make a dog for my like Sims in like the beginning where I had the intro. But at that point, I was like, I don't feel like making a dog for this. So just pretend like they have a dog in this house. And you probably would have seen just before there is a bookcase in the middle of the stairs downstairs, and I don't notice it at all until I'm playtesting. So for the rest of the video, you're gonna see that bookcase right there. And my other plan was that I was gonna have a separate like laundry room for this build, and then I didn't actually save any space for it. So I put it in the kitchen because I was like, well, in like Europe, they have the laundry stuff in the kitchen. So I could throw that over there. There's like a perfect space for that. And I think it looks really cute, which is also why I used the kitchen as like the primary room for my intro of this video. An intro without me talking and with just music is also something I haven't done in a very long time. But because I'm like still trying to find my routine again, I'm experimenting a little bit more. And I was like, you know what? If I go back to putting music and uh like a little bit of a more detailed look at my build at the start, then I can start talking as soon as the actual speed build starts so that I don't have to come up with even more stuff to say at the start. And the start of a video is always the most difficult for me to start doing a voiceover for because I feel just like more shy and nervous. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I don't really get into just being able to talk naturally about my build, at least for like a minute or two leading into it. But the whole like video making process has definitely become easier the last couple weeks by splitting this up into two different videos. Like I finally feel very comfortable and like I'm not trying to rush it, and I'm like I don't just hate everything that I'm doing while I'm trying to finish it, and I could really just slow down. And also like it allowed me to just like take some more time, especially recording the intro to this and stuff, which is why next week's video will probably be just the outside of whatever build I start, unless it's a very tiny build and it's just like, okay, outside, inside, the video's like 30 minutes long. That I could like maybe just get away with doing a full video of. But if it is long and it is detailed, then I'm going to split my stuff into two videos for a little while, which is also really nice because it allows me to spend a little bit more time and effort into little details, especially on the inside, which can take forever sometimes. Like, this interior was pretty long, which it's like a over 20-minute long video, which is why when I edited, like, the outside video for last week and I was looking at how much footage I had from the interior, I was like, "You know what? I think that I could cut down my stress a little bit by just experimenting a little bit with my uploads." And so I think it was very helpful. I'm really glad that I pushed myself to just try something a little bit different and so that I can like enjoy making videos without like putting unnecessary stress on myself. And now we're on the upstairs of the build. I really love this bathroom. I love how like narrow it is and how long it is. Like I kind of have been doing the same thing with the new Animal Crossing update with the hotel rooms. I've been really liking that sort of dimension for a room. And so when I was like editing this video, I was like, wow, I love this bathroom. And it kind of reminds me of how narrow I've been trying to make the hotel rooms in my Animal Crossing island. And then I never really have space for bathrooms in my build, so the fact that this build was like fairly large and I could get away with this was really nice too. Like the parents' bedroom is huge. When I was like about to decorate this, all I was thinking was I was like, this is like a rich parent's house. It's like the entire upstairs half of it is dedicated just to the parents' room, the bathroom, and the closet. And then the kids' rooms are so tiny, but I really didn't know how else to split up this space because like it just naturally happened this way, especially with the placement of the stairs. And if I didn't do the long walk-in closet, I felt like the one kid's bedroom would have been a very strange shape. And so I was like, I feel like this is the best way to do this. I didn't put a lot in this large bedroom because I don't know how to fill in space this big. So I just have one of my favorite beds from Cats and Dogs, which is like another reason why I barely use Outdoor Retreat, because I love the bed from Outdoor Retreat, but why would I use that one when I could use this one? I really love the like really pretty mint green color and the light wood. It just worked really well with like everything else I was picking out. But I do have an Outdoor Retreat side table, and I am using like a base game one on one side and then the Outdoor Retreat on one, and the dresser is also Outdoor Retreat. Later on, it's not shown, but I add a Outdoor Retreat little shelf up top above that dresser, and I probably add in some other space, like random places here and there. Now that I think of it, the mirror is also from that pack, so I did use quite a bit of that pack in the parents' room, and it just works really well with the bed and the base game swatches that I picked out. It looks really good, so maybe that's also why I just blended in really well. I was trying to see where I wanted to move the dresser because I guess I didn't like the way the space looked and I didn't know what to put inside the closet. But I'm glad I didn't. Okay. And this part, apparently, I completely forgot to turn on G Shade. So now you get to see the builds in like the actual colors when you load it up. This is just a normal game, no shaders or anything. I don't know how I didn't notice. I guess I started my game up and I just started decorating, and didn't even realize that I was building without my new preset on. I say new, but I've been using that preset for months now, so it's not very new. But this was the last bit of the build, and so I guess I just forgot to turn it on. All it is, it was the rest of the closet and the two kids' bedrooms, and the two kids' bedrooms are very small. I went with like pink and blue carpet. Growing up, I had a pink carpet, so I was like, all right, put that down. And I was like, I'll throw in a blue carpet in the other room. I could have like two very different color palettes for each of the rooms, make it a little bit more playful, except they do feel very plain. I will say that. I think the main issue is just the choice of windows in here. It feels very dark and just like not a very a lot of natural light, not really much of a view either outside of those windows, but I felt like those were the only windows that worked on the outside. So it's what kind of just had to stick for this. I would have loved to have been able to put a window on the outside wall of the like pink carpet room, but that's all like that entire wall is covered up by the roof, which is also why it's a different siding too, because that's the siding of the roof. And I don't know, if I didn't really play around to see if I could somehow change it so that I could put wallpaper on that wall instead. I probably could have just by like moving the roof over one tile and then just like bringing the like roof peak part up a little bit, but that could have maybe been cutting in. I don't know. I just decided to go the lazy route and just accept having sort of like a different paneling on one of the walls. I don't mind the siding like that anyway. I think my main issue with the rooms is just the choice of windows and the lack of wall decorations because I think I just got lazy and I didn't put as much as I maybe could have. And now we're at the screenshots. I'm really happy that I was able to get this video ready and up for this week, and I reached my goal day of Wednesday, which I wasn't sure if I would be able to do. It is much easier when the video is a bit shorter, but you can see each of the rooms. And I forgot again that I used a lot of the outdoor retreat stuff for the planters, which was really nice, but I could have used base game ones if I had used Parenthood instead of outdoor retreat. And I also put in the outside pictures if you haven't seen that video and you want to see the pictures from that. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye.